Think about the last time you were in pain. Not physical pain, I'm talking about the quiet, gnawing anxiety at 2 a.m. The crushing weight of a job you despise. The humiliation of a failure. The grief of a relationship turning to ash. What if I told you that the pain itself isn't actually what's destroying you? What if the exhaustion, the depression, and the urge to just give up have absolutely nothing to do with how hard your life is, and everything to do with the fact that your struggle is completely empty? Welcome to the brutal truth of Friedrich Nietzsche. Over a century ago, he diagnosed the exact psychological sickness of our modern era. He looked at a world that was becoming increasingly comfortable, increasingly safe, and realized we were heading toward a catastrophic mental health crisis. Why? Because we were eliminating meaning in the name of comfort. Nietzsche famously wrote, "He who has a why to live for can bear almost any how." Most people read that as a nice, motivational quote. It's not. It is a psychological wrecking ball. Nietzsche is stripping away every excuse you have ever made for your misery. He is telling you, point blank, the problem isn't that your life is hard. The problem is that your pain has no purpose. Today, we are going to learn how to weaponize your suffering. We are going to explore the darkest corners of human psychology through the lens of those who survived the unimaginable, to understand exactly how the brain processes pain when it is armed with a why. By the end of this video, you will no longer view your struggles as punishments. You will view them as raw material. Act I, the vacuum of the modern age, the death of meaning. We live in the most comfortable era in human history, yet we are drowning in an epidemic of despair. Why? Because we have completely misunderstood what the human mind needs to survive. Society tells you that the ultimate goal of life is happiness, defined largely as the absence of struggle. Retire early, buy the ergonomic chair, automate your tasks, avoid conflict, and numb your mind with endless algorithmic scrolling when reality gets too sharp. Nietzsche called this the era of the asterisk-classed man, a pathetic, domesticated creature who seeks only comfort and warmth, terrified of taking risks, incapable of great love or great suffering. The last man blinks at the universe and asks, "What is a star?" When you remove the struggle for survival, you create a vacuum. And human psychology abhors a vacuum. If you do not intentionally fill your life with a heavy, chosen burden, a profound why, your brain will invent problems to panic about. You will experience existential dread over an unreturned email. You will suffer catastrophic anxiety over a clumsy social interaction. This is asterisk nihilism, the belief that nothing matters, everything is random, and suffering is just a pointless glitch in a cold universe. Nihilism is the default state of the modern mind when it lacks a why. But Nietzsche didn't just diagnose the disease, he provided the cure. He argued that human beings are not built for peace, we are built to overcome. We don't want a life free of tension, we want a tension that is worth the fight. Act II, the mathematics of despair. Viktor Frankl. To truly understand the biological power of a why, we have to leave the realm of theory and enter the realm of absolute hell. During World War II, a psychiatrist named Viktor Frankl was stripped of his identity, his life's work, and his family, and thrown into the Nazi concentration camps. If there was ever a place where nihilism was justified, it was Auschwitz. The how of daily existence was unimaginably brutal: starvation, freezing temperatures, disease, and the constant, arbitrary threat of execution. Yet, Frankl observed something that completely changed our understanding of human psychology. He noticed that the prisoners who survived weren't necessarily the most physically robust. The bodybuilders and the physically strong often broke down first. The ones who survived, who maintained the light behind their eyes, were the ones who had a specific, intensely personal why waiting for them outside the barbed wire. For one man, it was a child waiting for him in a foreign country. For a scientist, it was a series of books that only he could finish. For Frankl, it was the burning desire to rewrite his manuscript on psychology and share this exact discovery with the world. Frankl formulated a psychological equation that dictates your entire reality. Despair equals suffering without meaning. If you are suffering and you can see no reason for it, you experience despair. Despair is what breaks the human spirit. And this is the absolute crux of the realization. If you introduce meaning $M into the equation, the suffering $S remains, but the despair $D vanishes. The physical pain doesn't stop. The cold is still cold. The grief still aches, but the asterisk psychological breakdown ceases. The pain is no longer a chaotic force destroying you. It becomes the exact friction you need to fulfill your purpose. Think about the gym. When you lift heavy weights, you are physically tearing muscle fibers. It hurts. If someone strapped you to a machine and forced that physical sensation on you against your will, it would be torture. But because you chose it, because the meaning is I am becoming stronger, the pain is not just tolerable, it is actively desired. What Nietzsche and Frankl are demanding of you is to take that exact same neurological mechanism and apply it to the suffering in your life that you didn't choose. Act III. Amor Fati, the ultimate rebellion. How do we do this? How do we assign meaning to a random illness, a brutal betrayal, or the loss of a loved one? Nietzsche's answer is a concept called *amor fati*, a Latin phrase that translates to a love of one's fate. Notice the exact wording, not tolerance of your fate, not resignation to your fate. Love. Nietzsche wrote, "My formula for greatness in a human being is amor fati, that one wants nothing to be different, not forward, not backward, not in all eternity. Not merely bear what is necessary, still less conceal it, but love it." This is the ultimate rebellion against a chaotic universe. Amor fati means looking at the absolute worst things that have happened to you and refusing to be a victim. A victim says, "Why did this happen to me?" A practitioner of Amor Fati says, "This happened for me." This is the exact training material required to forge me into who I am supposed to become. If you were fired from your job, you do not wallow in the injustice. You decide, right then and there, that this firing is the origin story of your independence. It is the necessary catalyst that forced you to build your own empire. If you had your heart broken by someone you trusted, you do not close yourself off. You decide that this betrayal was the exact curriculum you needed to learn boundaries, to understand human nature, and to eventually become the bedrock of a much stronger family in the future. You retroactively inject the past with meaning by how you choose to use it in the present. This requires a terrifying level of responsibility. It means you can no longer blame your parents, your boss, the economy, or your genetics. If you are going to survive the how, you have to architect the why. Act IV. The protocol for weaponizing suffering. So, how do we operationalize this? Philosophy is useless if it doesn't change your behavior at 2:00 p.m. on a stressful Tuesday. Here is the exact psychological protocol for weaponizing your suffering. Write down the exact source of your pain. Now strictly separate the clean pain, the objective facts from the dirty pain, the story you are telling yourself about why this makes you a failure. The suffering is the objective fact. The despair is the story. You cannot control the former. You have absolute dominion over the latter. Look at the clean pain. Ask yourself, if I were a character in a movie and this was my lowest point before the climax, what specific strength is this tragedy forcing me to develop? Are you being forced to learn resilience, independence, radical empathy, or ruthlessness? Name the trait. Connect this newly developed trait to a person or a future mission. Frankl survived for his wife and his unwritten book. Who benefits from you surviving this? Your future children, a community you will eventually build, the younger version of yourself who needs proof that survival is possible. The pain is no longer yours. It is a tax you are paying to become the person they will need. Meaning is not just an intellectual exercise, it must be physicalized. If your meaning is, I am going through this breakup to become deeply self-reliant, you must immediately take an action that proves it. Book a solo trip, fix something broken in your house yourself, or confront a fear alone. You must wire the brain to associate the emotional pain with an immediate action of strength. Nietzsche warned us that without a why, life is an unbearable tragedy. But with a why, life is the ultimate crucible. You are not supposed to be happy all the time. You are not supposed to be relentlessly comfortable. You are an organism built to solve complex problems and carry heavy loads. When you strip away the load, the organism attacks itself. Stop praying for an easy life. Stop wishing that things were different. That wish is the exact source of your suffering. The universe does not care about your comfort. It will hand you chaos, tragedy, and pain with total indifference. But the universe made one critical error. It gave you the ability to decide what that pain means. It provided the anvil and the hammer, but you are the smith. He who has a why to live for can bear almost any how. Find your why, weaponize your pain, and become absolutely unbreakable.